Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2019 Kickball Circuit Cup Championship presented by Kickball 365. I'm Patty Cullum alongside Avery Floyd, and we are here in muggy Atlanta, Georgia, where 30 teams are about to sweat, bleed, and cry, chasing that coveted title of Circuit Cup champion, as well as that all-important $10,000 prize. Yes, kickball, it is the grade school game that has received new resurgence as an adult league recreational sport with leagues and tournaments all over the country. In Kickball 365, this culminates on this day today, the Circuit Cup Championship. We've got teams from Arizona, Oklahoma, Colorado, Boston, Louisiana, Florida, DC, Texas, and California, and they're getting ready to play on the fields. Our first game up in the featured match is going to be the Crooked Roosters out of Arizona against Wide Open out of Oklahoma. And we are moments away from the game getting started. But while we're waiting for that, Avery, you got any predictions? You got any thoughts on this upcoming game? Who do you think's got the win with this one?
Well, both teams, they got a little history against one another. But I'm going to go with Wide Open. I think.
You think?
I think.
Wide Open.
I'm kind of iffy, but I'm going to go with Wide Open.
So looking at how they've fared throughout the year, Wide Open has made it to 3 events in 2019. They were at the Sin City Kickball Classic. They were 2-2 in pool play, got knocked out in the round of 12, the play-in round. At the Dallas Kickball Open, they were 1-3 in pool play, did not make it to the elimination round. And at the Kansas City Kickball Open, they were 0-4 in pool play. Didn't win a game in Kansas City. Crooked Roosters, on the other hand, ranked number 19. They also made 3 events. They were 2-2 at the Sin City Kickball Open in Vegas, knocked out in the round of 12. They made the elims in the Dallas Kickball Open with 2-2 in pool play, and then knocked out in the round of 16. And at the Kansas City Kickball Open, they were 1-3 in pool play. So they won one more game than Wide Open in Kansas City, and you're still predicting Wide Open to win?
Yes.
Okay, fair enough. For those who are a little confused about the whole idea of pool play, so the way that kickball works is each team plays 4 games of pool play, and from there they hope to make it onto the round of 16, which is the elimination round. From there it's a mere 4 wins to the championship.
All right.
So the rock, paper, scissors, the all-important part of kickball, rock, paper, scissors, or if you're French, Rochambeau. That is how they determine who is home and who is away. And it looks like Wide Open won rock, paper, scissors and have elected to be kicking first. So they are the away team. Crooked Roosters setting up to take the field as defense. In kickball, defense has 10 players out in the field, and every team has as many as 15 people that they can have in their kicking lineup, so you can have more offensive players than defensive players. As everybody slowly shuffles around, it looks like Derek Zimmer will be their starting pitcher for Crooked Roosters.
I'm like literally in the field of play.
So while we're waiting for everybody to finish milling about and figure out what they're doing, we can do a quick primer on the game for those who are new to adult league kickball. The mechanics are very similar to baseball. The main difference is instead of swinging a bat at a pitched ball, the offense swings their feet at a pitched ball. From there, the goal is to work the players around the bases to eventually get home and score. The defense's job is to stop that from happening. It's actually a little bit more similar to softball than baseball. They only play on 60-foot base paths, and leading off and stealing are not allowed. As mentioned before, defense has 10 players in the field, minimum of 4 ladies and 4 gentlemen. And their kicking lineup also, as mentioned, can hold as many as 15 players. Most teams travel with more than 15, so there are bench subs who could come in. The strike zone is a 3-dimensional shape around home plate, 1 foot to either side and 1 foot high above the plate. The ball has to bounce at least twice before reaching the plate. Kickers have to kick from inside the kicker's box. 4 balls to a walk, 4 strikes to an out, and of note, fouls and strikes are not counted separately. So 4 strikes, 4 fouls, or any combination thereof is an out. Foul outs are fairly common. Strikeouts are a bit more rare, and you can bet that we will mercilessly mock any bona fide strikeouts that we see today. Also of note, 4 straight balls with no strikes or fouls leads to a 2-base walk. So if you get 4 balls with nothing else, you're going all the way to second base. More rules will be coming up, I'm sure. We'll talk about those. But it looks like this game is about to start. For wide open, it appears as if Ben Bersanti, Benny the Jet, will be leading off for wide open. And here's Derek's first pitch.
Macaroni.
Nice little strike across the plate.
He's starting off with that heat.
He is. Well, it's a turf field, and a lot of these guys are used to playing on grass. So on occasions that they do get a turf field, they can certainly get a lot more speed and movement on the ball. Second strike comes in. Derek is a left-handed pitcher, which makes for some fun curve coming in.
But that he's left-handed. That ball will come right to your right.
Exactly. A lot of people are intimidated by the left-handed pitcher, but as you mentioned, the ball does come right into the sweet spot for a right-footed kicker to bunt the ball up the third base line, which I'm guessing is what Benny the Jet is trying to do right now.
Yeah, Benny the Jet ain't looking too high right now. He's down 0-3 on the count.
He is.
Oh, that's way outside, sir. That's way outside.
As expected on an 0-3 count, pitchers will usually throw some garbage to try and bait a nervous kicker into swinging at something that they don't want. But as you mentioned, that one was way too far outside to even think about. Crooked Roosters gets the first out on the day, fouling / striking out. Benny the Jet, wide opens lead off. Little pop-up.
Hey, now.
Quick play for the out at first.
I like this pitcher right here. He's moving off the mound, he's throwing that heat. Everything is good right now from this pitcher, man.
He's doing all right. Yeah, Derek's a solid player, been with Roosters for a while. He's generally considered one of their ace pitchers, although we can say Crooked Roosters does have 1 million people who can pitch the ball.
All right.
They generally bounce back and forth between pitcher and first base.
Oh, that's a perfect bunt right there, right down 3. That's exactly what you needed.
Finally see a good bunt out of one of the wide open players. That was Matthew, number 9. Takes the first pitch from Derek, puts it right up the line. No play. He's comfortably on first, but with 2 outs. Phil Nate's up in the 4 spot with 2 outs.
It's a little outside right there.
Takes a wide ball right there. So in this situation, you got to wonder what Phil's going to do. Does he want to try and bunt just to get some more runners on the base, or do you think he's going to think about swinging away to see if he can make something happen, move some people around?
He's going to move some people around right here. He's going to keep it on the ground down 3. Oh, he keeps down.
Look at that. Good call right there. Wonderful catch out there in right field. Who was that? That was a spectacular snag. Looked to be Desiree Jansen chasing that ball down. So 1 runner on, no runs scored here in the top of the first inning.
It was no threat. No threat on offense.
No threat at all. No threat at all.
In the top of the lineup, you need to be a threat. Somebody got to at least get the 3. Something got to happen right here.
Looks like Chris Curry is going to be taking the mound for wide open. Roosters are an interesting team in that they've got a couple of people who can certainly lay down a bunt. They've got some speed, but they are generally much more comfortable swinging their legs. They're a big kicking team. So after the first couple of kickers, we'll see if they manage to keep the bunting going or if they just decide to open it up and see if they can start pushing the ball deeper into the field, moving people around. So in addition to the pitcher, a couple of other key infield positions for kickball are, of course, the catcher, who's coming up to try and slurp up any short bunts for the out at first, and the charger, which is the third base-ish position, but usually have somebody running in, trying to get their timing across the encroachment line and make any plays at first. Ryan Bellman leading off for the Roosters takes a strike. Next pitch from Curry.
He's a little late on that, though.
A little bit late, gets tangled up, pushes the ball foul.
Yeah, and kick ball, too. If you hit the ball twice with that leg, that's a double kick. That's also a foul ball.
That is correct. If you happen to be in the field of play when the ball hits you a second time, that is an out.
We got one bounce right there, one bounce. That'll be a ball pitch right there.
You're going to see a lot of that from pitchers. If they get up a little bit in the count, then they're going to start throwing some garbage. Again, that bait pitch just to see if they can catch a nervous kicker. So counts 1-2. Ball comes in. Bellman, mid-range shot. And Benny in the charger position coming across the field. Can't quite get a good hand on it. I have a feeling if he was able to field that cleanly, they probably would have had Bellman at first base. But as anybody who's played the game can tell you, keeping a hand on the ball, it's a 12-inch orange rubber ball. It can be a little squirrely at times. Like the number 2 kicker is Chris Webb, one of the 2 Webbs. There are a couple of Webbs on the Crooked Roosters. He takes a very wide ball. Lays down a reasonable bunt. Benny picks it up from charger, throws it off. They go.
Oh, he dropped it at 1.
James Spiegel screws up at 1. Bellman goes first to third.
That's a nice slide over there at 3.
And Webb is able to get all the way to second. So wide open, starting to get into a little bit of trouble. You've got runners on second and third.
With no outs.
No outs at all.
I'm getting this run. The game is 0-0, first inning. See there, I don't take that bunt.
Webb's looking to apparently bunt to get on to load the bases. Perhaps he's not as confident in his kick. Obviously, he's got somebody right at third, 60 feet away from their first score, but plan could be to load up the bases.
See, in that situation, I need the points. It's too much money out there.
Exactly.
Too much money out there. I need that money.
Get them runs. Launches a little bunt, and
oh, come on, Jet. You got to catch that.
Benny tries to charge in. Does a wonderful little slide. Doesn't quite get under it. And now the bases are loaded with no outs.
My guy Blake about to put a big foot on this kicker right here. I see at least making the second base with a drop ball.
Long, deep shot to left. Caught in center left field. 1 run gets in, and oh, they're trying to do some nonsense.
Oh, yeah, got him out at home.
Got him out at
Jet.
home.
Good play, Jet. That was big time. I got a double play on there. We got the catch, and we got an out at home.
Crooked Roosters trying to be aggressive with the bases early, and generally it works, but Benny paying attention, getting a little bit distracted by the runner at second base, but not getting fooled for too long. It's a great throw in for a tag play at home. 1 run scored, 2 outs.
Great call by Blue. Great call.
Up next is Mike Rhodes. Got to expect that he'll be swinging away, but instead he just drills a little bloop grounder up the third base side. Benny makes the play at 1, and that finishes out the inning. So, looks like at the bottom.
That was 1?
I think that was only 1.
That was only 1 because it got the out at home.
Got it the out at 1. So, what looked to be a very big threat by Roosters ends up coming a little bit flat when they had bases loaded with no outs, are only able to convert that into 1 run. So as mentioned before, Crooked Roosters has literally 1 million people who can pitch the ball. And now we are seeing their second pitcher on the day. This is Mike Rhodes. Roosters first baseman Andy Zumwalt also does do some pitching, but I have a feeling that they're going to want to keep him at first all day. He's a big target. He's good at the bag. I don't think they're going to want to pull him away from that. Next up for wide open, leading off the second inning, is James Spiegel, also known as Spiegs. Last time Spiegel faced Crooked Roosters, he struck out twice, which was quite amusing.
Good eye right there. That was a 1 bounce pitch.
1 bounce comes in. Not likely that Spiegel will bunt here, but since he does not have a base runner that he's protecting, he might try to get a little line shot out there. give himself an easy run to first. And
Oh.
instead, he tangles his feet up, gets a goofy foot on the ball. Counts 1-1. Hey, we're getting there. We are 3 strikes away from seeing the famous James Spiegel strikeout. We'll see if it actually happens. Chooses not to take that one.
I think it's going to be an easy out. How you think?
And you say that, but Spiegel's one of those weirdo players who can put the ball where somebody isn't. And generally, there's not anybody in foul territory, so that's not a bad kick. It just isn't going to successfully get him on base. So it looks like we are at 2-2 for Spiegel. Trying to up Mike Rhodes' pitch count. Another foul ball at the third base line.
He definitely got the goofy foot.
He does have the goofy foot. He keeps catching it on the inside, which is shooting that off to the left side. Not getting any air on the ball either, which is keeping it on the ground. That's not a bad thing. It prevents the catch, but he still has to get it into the field of play.
All
One
right,
of those.
we got a full count right here. We got 3-3.
One way or another, we're going to see some action on this pitch.
But I'm not walking. I'm giving you candy right here.
Bellman picks up the ball and got Spiegel out at first.
We called it.
We did. Well, you called it.
Oh, yeah, I
I
definitely
was hoping for something a little bit weirder, but that was actually a pretty conventional play.
That was a nice kick down 3, though. I give him that.
Chris Curry up for now for wide open.
Oh,
Takes
that
a
got down.
first strike.
Yeah, that's a good pitch. That second bounce right in front of the plate.
Really good chance we're going to see Curry try and launch this ball somewhere deep. He's a big kicker. No, he bunts it. Picked up by Webb and thrown out easily to Zumwalt at first.
That was a good play by the back catcher. Did exactly what he's supposed to do. Made a play on the ball. Make sure he gathered the ball. Easy out at 1.
Next up with 2 outs for wide open is Wes Morton. Takes a strike on the left-hand corner. That was a good pitch from Rhodes right there.
How you feel about Salty? You know anything about this guy, Salty?
Not off the top of my head, no. But I have a feeling we're going to figure something out. Swings away deep in the box, looking to get that grounder up the left-hand side, which if you can sneak it by their Charger Bellman over there, that should be good for a base hit, but it's a little far back in the box. Shot that one left up at the foul side.
That's a foul ball.
Goofy
The
little
kicker.
pitch from Rhodes. Salt gets a good foot on it, drops it into that left field empty zone. Trouble is he was behind the kicking box. He was outside of the kicking box, and that is one of the rules. Kickers have to kick inside of the kicking box. They can't be in front of it. They can't be behind it. They can't be to the left or right of it, although I don't know if I'd ever see anybody kick it from the left or right of it. And that is it, a foul out / strikeout from Mike Rhodes to end the inning. Not a single base runner.
3 up, 3 down, sir.
It's an interesting game so far. Roosters definitely look like they're dominating on both sides. They've had a lot more base runners. They've been doing very well defensively, but the scoreboard doesn't show it. The score is only 1-0 in favor of the Roosters. Chris Curry back on the mound for wide open. And Andy Zumwalt coming up leading off this inning. Takes a called strike. It's an interesting phenomenon of kickball. Most kickers will generally take the first pitch just to get a look and get a read on it. And typically the pitcher knows that as a free strike, so they will always try to make their first pitch good. I would like to see more people swinging at the first pitch. Zumwalt goes for the bunt, pops up to the left side, just a little short one. Benny the Jet of Chargers able to come in, make the catch easily. Coming up is Brandon Webb, the other Webb on Crooked Roosters. Gets a foot on the ball, but does not send it anywhere.
I like how you did that one. I like how you did that one.
A little bit of pause in the game for the action out in the field.
He's a little behind on that pitch. I think the pitcher got his number right now.
I think you're right. I think you're right. Now the question is, was he a little bit behind, or was he intending to try and do a back foot bunt? Because his front foot didn't come anywhere near the ball. Back foot caught it and dribbled it up the right-hand side.
That, sir, that is way behind. He is off.
Curry throws one of those wide bait pitches, going fishing. Doesn't catch anything as Webb lays off it.
Got a little smile on his face about that pitch.
Another one of those bunts where the ball goes backward, not forward. If behind the plate were in the field of play, that'd be a great bunt. Unfortunately, that's nothing. So we've got, I believe, 3 strikes on B. Webb, with 1 out here in the bottom of the second. Lays off a 1 bouncer. That's a real spooky pitch to lay off of. And the count is now full.
I'm not putting myself in that situation. I was up on the count. I'm letting my defense handle that.
Just outside the right-hand side of the zone. We see our first walk of the day, and Roosters have a runner, Brandon Webb, standing on first. And coming up behind him is Jamin Bradley. Setting up for what looks like a bunt, but lets the first one go by.
In this situation, if I'm the back catcher, he's leaving short, I'm going for 2 to stop that lead runner from advancing to base.
Little comeback into the pitcher. Pitcher turns, looks at 2, does exactly what you said, gets the out at second.
That's a great play.
Magnificent play by pitcher Chris Curry on that comebacker grounder. Turns around, fires to second base. I think I lost track of who that was who made the play, but magnificent play at second base. Catching the ball. And so now we have got 2 outs. Runner on first.
Same play, same thing.
Well, at this point with 2 outs, I say take the easiest base.
Give it a ride.
Might see a kick away here just to see what happens. And we do see a little shank kick, and it makes the ground. Alicia for wide open, not quite able to get underneath it. That is what we refer to as an Irish single, because you should not be on base safe, but you get a little bit of luck out there. And now you got 2 runners on. Scott Salazar for Roosters up. Got to expect he's going to be swinging away here. Little bloop shot back to the pitcher. Curry makes the play to James Spiegel at first, and even though Roosters threatened again, they are not able to convert a run. We have finished with 2 innings, and
still 1-0.
Yeah, still 1-0. Crooked Roosters look to be sticking with Mike Rhodes to pitch this inning. Bellman at Charger, and the younger of the Webb brothers. Or maybe they're cousins. They're related, I know that much. But Webb 2.0, Chris Webb, will be in the catcher spot again. Alicia DeJulio starting off this inning.
For now on, I know now. I'm taking that first pitch. It's coming straight over the plate. It's a perfect pitch. Just go ahead and bunt that down 3.
Pitchers always try to use that as a free strike. Rhodes' second pitch just a scotch long. As a reminder, ball it does have to have 2 bounces before reaching the plate in order to be considered a strike.
I don't know how to call this pitch. I don't know if it's a backup. I don't know what it do, but it got him confused at the plate.
He does. Rhodes has a few different kind of pitches. He's got sort of a conventional just sidearm throw that comes in with a little bit of curve, but he's got a couple of weird changeup looking things with some backspin that, you're right, are very confusing. Alicia pops up to left side.
Easy pop up. I'm making that play 100% of the time.
100% of the time. Liz Erickson in left field makes the catch. Doesn't have to take more than a few steps for it.
I'm just glad the fellas let the women play today.
Next up for wide open, Caitlin Weaver. And I missed the call on that one. I can't remember. Don't know if that was a strike or a ball. That was definitely a strike. So the first one was a ball. Count is 1-1. Short little bunt up the center. Webb easily slurps it up from the catcher spot. Dishes it off to Andy at first.
This guy Webb just shaking his head like that's too easy.
Too
It's
easy.
Too easy.
Too
Don't leave
easy.
it short for the guy Webb. He is on every play. Well, she went after the first one, but she didn't have any luck.
She did not. Now this is Chelsea Ransom up here now for wide open. And chose to go after the first pitch. Knew it was going to be a good one, but wasn't able to get a good foot on it.
She's down on the count. It's an 0-2 count. No balls, 2 straight.
Rhodes is having a lot of luck with the turf today. He's almost able to get a float on the ball. It's very odd watching it come in. Little pop up to the right side.
Again,
Easy catch at the second base spot.
I love watching the men let the women make the plays.
Going into the bottom of the third. Score is still a tight 1-0. I was expecting to see a runaway one way or another.
I'm for it.
Well, part of the line before the game as to whether or not wide open was going to have a chance against the Roosters is whether or not the Roosters were suffering from the early morning blues. That is to say, Roosters sometimes are a bit slow to start in the mornings, and they seem to be suffering from that now. Derek is up for Crooked Roosters. Chris Curry still pitching. Looks like he took a first strike there. Don't know if he agreed with it. Little left-footed bunt off the outside of the foot, but unfortunately straight up the middle. Benny's easily able to cross the field, pick it up, dish it right to
I definitely understand why they call him the Jet now.
Oh yeah, he's a
He
speedy
is
fella.
on it.
Speedy fella.
Liz, no sliding. No sliding.
Second kick of this inning. Little pop out to shortstop. And now up to kick with 2 outs is Liz Erickson for the Crooked Roosters. This is the part of the game where things tend to get a little bit sleepy. A lot of 1, 2, 3 innings. Maybe a runner here or there. Kicker's taking a lot of pitches, getting high in the count. And we can understand why people don't necessarily rush out to watch the game of kickball. Takes a strike on the outside. Called one bounce. Looked like
that
it was
close.
That was very close.
That was real close.
If you're a pitcher and you can throw that pitch every time, you really want to work hard to get that one because it is right on the edge, right on the line. This changes up the plan of bunting up third by trying to kick a ground ball up the first base side, right to where the first baseman would probably be to pick it up and make an easy out. Not sure if I agree with her strategy choice on there. Or it could have been an accident. No, she looks to be trying to go up the first base line. And doesn't do any good anyway, as that is her 4th strike. And once again,
That'll be changing them up. I don't know what she was thinking right there.
Roosters get blanked. Getting near the bottom of the lineup, 4 wide open.
It's still a close game, man.
It is, it is.
I still got my pick is wide open, so they about to make a run right here. At the top of the fourth.
If they do it, I'll be happy.
Yes. I see them making a run right here in this inning right here, putting pressure on the other team.
Amber Lord leading off the inning. Derek Zimmer back on the mound for the Crooked Roosters and throws his first. There was not a first pitch strike. A little too much curve on that one. It shot out to the right-hand side.
See, that's what happened when you do them subs at pitcher. They lose that mark. When you hot and you over the plate, you do not want to come off that mound. So that sub right there was really a bad sub at pitcher. Now he's behind on the count. It's 2 balls, no strike.
Finally gets one in there for a strike. Little foul up the left-hand side.
And I'm definitely not leaving it short for the Webb guy. He is.
No.
I'm trying to see what this Charger can do. He has not made a play all game.
Bellman is a very strong Charger. There he goes cross, picks it up.
Okay.
Yeah. Bellman is a strong Charger for the Roosters. Been with them for years. The only flaw that I can find potentially in Bellman's play is he is about the only person that they will play at Charger. And if you're playing somewhere between 4 and 8 games a day, that can be exhausting.
He's going to throw his arm out. But that play right there, he used his feet and made an easy 2-hand chest pass.
Come back around to the top 4 wide open.
Let's go, baby.
Got Ben Bersanti up at the plate. Let's see if he can do a little bit better than his last showing.
It was a double kick.
Call foul ball for the double kick.
The opposing team was asking, did it hit him outside of that plate? He was still behind.
Benny got lucky with that foul ball. If that had been a fair ball, that's an easy out. And finally, wide open, gets themselves a base runner. Then he gets a little bit of a
good thing
dribbler.
it was the jet, because now my prediction still may be right, because jet is going to be that point.
It could be. Bellman comes in, makes the play, super close at first, but first base calls it safe at first.
I'm going jet anytime on that throw.
James Houston launches a ball into deep right field. It's past him, and here we go. Benny's coming around, coming up to third. James is behind him. Benny's going all the way home. It looks like they're probably going to try and hold. No, and James Houston gets greedy looking for the home run. Don't know if his base coach sent him or if he just made the choice, but he runs into the ball as it comes in from home plate, or comes in from the field to home plate, and alas, the score is now tied 1-1. Not that all-important 2-1 that wide open was looking for.
I definitely needed him to stay at 3 with no out, 1 out. The next play, kick out, they win 2-1. My prediction stays the same.
It's a big danger
Oh, good tap.
of aggressive base running, particularly with the runners that you have behind you. The follow-up kicker behind James, Matthew, got a good leg, got a good kick. And if James is standing on third base with 1 out, it's an easy kick, even a sacrifice fly gets James home safely. So a little bit too aggressive. Watching the discussion in the field, it looks like it may have been a miscommunication from his third base coach sending him when he probably shouldn't have gone.
In that situation, as the kicker, knowing the ball that was in the infield, I would have stayed at 3. Sometimes you got to use your IQ for the game. You know it's only 1 out. You the winning run. Just stay at 3. Trust your teammates. Still, 1 out, you're on 3. Next play, pop out, tag up, score. But he's still on his game.
He's still on his game at catcher. Cheyenne for the Crooked Roosters drops tries for the bunt up 3, pops it up. James making a good run up from the catcher position, makes the catch.
That was an out.
Looked like they was looking for an encroachment call right there, but home plate ump says no encroachment, no encroachment. A little bit of a comebacker on the right side of the field. Chris Curry able to get over, pick up the ball, toss it to Spiegel.
And there at first base, you have an outside bag. So in 365, you are allowed to slide at first, which is not something I would be doing.
It's certainly not on these turf fields, and certainly not later in the day when the temperature on these fields, the surface temperature, is going to get up over 100 degrees. Ryan Bellman, as the top, decides to launch a very, very high ball, see if he can send it to the moon. Unfortunately, gravity does still work here. Ball comes back down. Wide open, able to make the catch. As we go into the top of the fifth, score is tied. This is Wide Open's last shot to try and score a run and get ahead of the game.
Again, knowing the situation, I just said, top of the fourth, they'll go up 2-1. They'll win the game. Trying to be aggressive early in the day, you don't need that. You do not need that. Stay at 3, 1 out, tag up, get your point. But now, they get to start over and do it again in the fifth.
Roosters look like they're going with Zimmer again, Derek Zimmer.
I don't know now.
On the mound.
That sub at first base might be a bobble. Oh, she even dropped one. Glad they warming up.
Weren't you the one 5 minutes ago saying you're glad that they're letting the girls play?
Hey.
And now you're disparaging the lady at first base. I hope she gets all the outs on her own just to shut you up. All right, Phil Nate's up, leading off this inning, the top of the fifth for Wide Open.
Oh, he called that outside.
Just wide, just wide.
Oh, that hit the corner.
It's a very, very wicked pitch.
But I love it because it comes back right to your foot because it's left-handed.
Phil decides to get tangled up, ran into some spider webs around his feet as he's going to first base.
Must have hit a pothole.
You know what? He was trying to slide. He was trying to slide in first base, which isn't the wisest choice of action when you're only 4 feet from home plate. Even if he hadn't gotten tangled up, I don't know if he had much of a chance at first. That was a nice infield ball that was easy play to first. And I'll have you note, Derek threw it to the first base girl rather than first base woman, as it is. Similar spot, and ball goes foul. James Spiegel up for Wide Open right now, trying to get something going, seeing if he can put the ball out in the field a little bit to get safely on first. As we saw his last at kick, he's not running out of bunts.
What's Mr. Goofy Foot?
He does have a goofy foot, but I'll tell you what, every now and then, well, not every now and then, one of his superpowers is he gets a weird foot on the ball and it lands where somebody isn't. I know I said this last time he was up to kick, and I had to eat my words. So let's see if he can do it again. Going for a little chop shot with that one. Certainly not winding up at all.
To me, it looked like he's trying to find a gap, find a little hole. But I don't think he got it today. Not the first game.
I think he needs to start by just getting a... Oh, and... I don't know if that was an intentional foul, an accidental foul. Just trying to dance out of the way.
So here we got an 0-3 count. If I'm the pitcher, I'm throwing a 1 bounce right at the plate.
Certainly want to throw some garbage, see if you can bait him into something. Just outside. Spiegel wanted it.
James, oh no. Check swing. I thought he had it. But the pitcher did exactly what we thought he would do. Throw a crazy pitch just to see what the kicker gonna do.
Foul ball up the left-hand side. 2 outs. So the Roosters are 1 out away from getting at least a tie, possibly a win. Now they got their big kicker, Chris Curry, up to the plate. I'm guessing he's probably going to be swinging away at this point. Zimmer calls for a little equipment boost, get a towel out there. Apparently the ball is already sweating. Chris Curry takes a one bounce ball. Second ball right on the plate. So if you got 3 balls with no strikes, you know you're laying off it. What do you do with 2 balls? Do you think he takes a swing at this one if it's good, or do you think he lays off this one as well?
I'm laying off. He's got to show me that he can't throw a strike right here. That's all I'm going to do. And he did exactly that.
Finally gets one in, gets the strike.
Because you don't have to be greedy here. It's only 1 out.
2 outs. Curry launches a decent little shot to center field, just enough to get him on base. And now we got some confusion here in the booth, whether it's 1 or 2 outs. I believe it's 2. Avery says it's 1. You know, let's call it 1.5. We'll compromise. All right, go-ahead run on first base with what does look to be 2 outs. Got Wes Morton up to kick again. Brief pause in the gameplay as a rogue ball is moving around in the outfield. Got to expect Wes to be taking a shot here again. See if he can get something to land. Decent little shot to the right side. The ball is down. And now we've got runners on first and second with 2 outs.
It's a great kick. Find the hole, put it in there.
And Alicia DiGiulio coming up to kick 4 wide open.
This is a hard play on her. She got to find the hole, but she got to keep it away, all the bases. So I don't know what she can do right here. Hopefully they get a bad throw at 1 going against her, and the scoring run comes in from 2.
Crooked Roosters shuffle up their infield a little bit. Bringing Zumwalt in, Andrew Zumwalt back into first base. Not necessarily for a play at first base, although that could happen. More likely just to have some more size in the infield to make sure that a ball doesn't get over into that right field spot.
In this situation, as the pitcher, I'm taking over this play right here. It's in my hands. It's 2 outs. I'm throwing that heat.
His goal has to be to make sure she doesn't get a good foot on the ball. And she gets a rough foot on the ball, and it was the pitcher's play. Pop up to the infield. Derek comes over, makes the catch. Going into the bottom of the 5th, the score is 1-1. Roosters have the opportunity for the walk-off here. I believe they are starting with their number 2 kicker, as Ryan Bellman, their leadoff, was the last out of the previous inning. So they are definitely in a favorable spot in their kicking order. This is a case where you expect to see what is almost considered the scripted action of kickball on offense. Look for a bunt up third, possibly a bunt up first, and then a kick away.
The Jet is getting ready. He know all these plays are coming at him fast.
James is settling up too. And here comes Chris Curry with the first pitch of the bottom of the 5th. Watches the first strike.
That's exciting.
It's a good pitch, good pitch.
Benny the Jet picks it up, fires at the first, and they get the first out.
Great play by the Jet. Doing his thing, what he do, and I like it.
Chris Webb not able to paint the line on that bunt, puts it right into the sweet spot. So fairly straightforward and easy play for Benny at the Charger position. 1 down, Brandon Erickson now up. Now at this point, without a runner to protect on first base, you got to wonder if he's thinking bunt or is he's thinking maybe take a go for a line drive shot somewhere.
In this situation, for me, it's 1 out. I'm aggressive. It's all for the marbles right here.
Exactly. Ideally, you know, he's got to be thinking about wanting to get over to second base. 3 balls with no strikes or fouls. This is a red light right now for Red. He is not swinging at this pitch.
At all. Because if it's a ball, you get 2 bases.
Exactly. Then he gets that position on second base.
With 1 out, kick out, that's ball game.
Chris Curry able to get that one in for a strike. So there will be no 2-base walk on this at kick. But you know, Red's going to be a little bit calm. And there's a no pitch. Still got some nonsense out in the field. It is the one danger of some of these tournaments is sometimes the fields can be a little bit on top of each other. They're not horrible today, but as we've seen, there's a little bit of nonsense coming from the other fields. All right, Chris Curry with the pitch.
Hey, he lost him. That's a walk.
Send him all the way to first base with just, fortunately he did have that 1 strike in there, otherwise that would be a lot more dangerous. Get their 4 kicker, typically a kick away spot.
But I'm be painting this. I'm loading the bases.
And no, he fires it up to the shortstop position to get Brandon Erickson out at second base. Blake is so ashamed of himself, he almost didn't make it to first base. So the go-ahead walk-off run is on first base, but Roosters managed to get themselves 2 outs. This has got to be those early morning blues that we were talking about. Because for the most part, every step of the game, Roosters have looked dominant over wide open. But unfortunately, just have not been able to score more runs or prevent the 1 run that wide open got. Looks like Evan Colcano, who I do not believe was in originally. He was subbed in. Evan, occasional first baseman for Roosters, brought in as a pinch kicker, known for having a very, very big leg. So I think Roosters' plan is just give him a shot to send the ball as far out as he can. James Spiegel playing pretty shallow in right field. Oh, I'm sorry. I take that back. James Spiegel is playing fairly deep as first base. They got Phil Nates out in right field, super deep. Popped over. Benny catches the ball at the Charger position. That is a tie. Oh, my goodness. So one of the things that I like about kickball is it's more like baseball and less like soccer. We just had a tie. We don't get ties in baseball. We get ties in soccer. I am ashamed of both of these teams. This is not a magnificent start in introducing the rest of the world to the game. Well, folks, I do apologize that our first game was a 1-1 tie. Hopefully our next game and the rest of the games throughout the day will be a little bit more interesting and a little bit more exciting because, for goodness sake, this was just shameful. I mean, certainly we had some good defense on both sides, but we also had some horrible base running on both sides, some mediocre kicking on both sides, and what we get is a 1-1 tie. That's not exciting at all. We apologize. For Avery Floyd, I'm Patty Cullum. We will be back in just a few minutes for the next game, starting up, I'm guessing about 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. We'll see you back here in just a bit.